Indian Penal Code Rapid Fire Questions. Question number 51. Defamation against the President or the Governor of a state or Administrator of a Union Territory or Minister in respect of his conduct in the discharge of his public functions when instituted upon a complaint made by the public prosecutor is dealt under A. Section 497 of IPC, B. Section 498 of IPC, C. Section 498A of IPC, D. Section 500 of IPC. Answer 51. Section 500 of IPC. Question 52. Grievous hurt caused while committing lurking house trespass or housebreaking is dealt under A. Section 458 of IPC, B. Section 459 of IPC, C. Section 460 of IPC, D. Section 461 of IPC. Answer 52. Section 459 of IPC. Question 53. Dishonestly breaking open or unfastening any closed receptacle containing or supposed to contain property is dealt under A. Section 458 of IPC, B. Section 459 of IPC, C. Section 460 of IPC, D. Section 461 of IPC. Answer 53. Section 461 of IPC. Question 54. Enticing or taking away or detaining with a criminal intent a married woman is dealt under A. Section 497 of IPC, B. Section 498 of IPC, C. Section 498A of IPC, D. Section 500 of IPC. Answer 54. Section 498 of IPC. Question 55. Punishment for forgery is dealt under A. Section 464 of IPC, B. Section 465 of IPC, C. Section 466 of IPC, D. Section 467 of IPC. Answer 55. Section 465 of IPC. Question 56. Having possession of a document, knowing it to be forged with the intent to use it as genuine if the document is one of the description mentioned in section 466 or 467 of the Indian Penal Code is dealt under A. Section 471 of IPC, B. Section 472 of IPC, B. Section 473 of IPC, D. Section 474 of IPC. Answer 56. Section 474 of IPC. Question 57. Attempting to commit offences punishable with imprisonment of life or imprisonment and in such attempt doing any act towards the commission of the offence is dealt under A. Section 510 of IPC, B. Section 511 of IPC, C. Section 512 of IPC, D. Section 513 of IPC. Answer 57. Section 511 of IPC. Question 58. Mischief committed after preparation made for causing death or hurt etc. is dealt under A. Section 438 of IPC, B. Section 439 of IPC, C. Section 440 of IPC, D. Section 441 of IPC. Answer 58. Section 440 of IPC. Question 59. Being entrusted with any closed receptacle containing or supposed to contain any property and fraudulently opening the same is dealt under A. Section 462 of IPC, B. Section 463 of IPC, C. Section 464 of IPC, D. Section 465 of IPC. Answer 59. Section 462 of IPC. Question 60. Punishment for internationally running vessel ashore with intent to commit theft etc. dealt under A. Section 438 of IPC, B. Section 439 of IPC, C. Section 440 of IPC, D. Section 441 of IPC. Answer 60. Section 439 of IPC. Question 61. Kidnapping or abducting a woman to compel her marriage is dealt under A. Section 365 of IPC, B. Section 366 of IPC, C. Section 367 of IPC, D. Section 368 of IPC. Answer 61. Section 366 of IPC. Question 62. Knowingly selling goods marked with counterfeit property mark is dealt under A. Section 485 of IPC, B. Section 486 of IPC, C. Section 487 of IPC, D. Section 488 of IPC. Answer 62, section 486 of IPC. Question 63. Which of the following section of the IPC does not affect the provisions of any act for punishing mutiny and desertion of officers, soldiers, sailors or airmen in the service of the government of India or the provisions of any special or local law? A. Section 3 of IPC, B. Section 4 of IPC, C. Section 5 of IPC, D. Both A and C. Answer 63, section 5 of IPC. Question 64. Punishment for forgery is dealt under A. Section 391 of IPC, B. Section 392 of IPC, C. Section 393 of IPC, D. Section 394 of IPC. Question 65. False statement in connection with elections is dealt under A. Section 170G of IPC, B. Section 171G of IPC, C. Section 172G of IPC, D. Section 173G of IPC. Answer 65, Section 171G of IPC. Question 66. Promoting enmity between different groups on grounds of religion, race, place of birth, residence, language, etc. and doing acts prejudicial to maintenance of harmony is dealt under A. Section 153A of IPC, B. Section 154A of IPC, C. Section 155A of IPC, D. Section 156A of IPC. Answer 66, section 153A of IPC. Question 67. The word document as per section 29 of IPC includes any matter expressed or described upon by any substance. A. By means of letters, figures or marks. B. By more than one of those means intended to be used or which may used as evidence of that matter. C. Both A and B. D. None of them. Answer 67, both A and B. Question 68. Dishonest misappropriation of property. Whoever dishonestly misappropriates or converts to his own use property, knowing that such a property was in the possession of a deceased person at the time of that person's decease and has not since been in the possession of any person legally entitled to such a possession, shall be punishable, is dealt under A. Section 401 of IPC, B. Section 402 of IPC, C. Section 403 of IPC, D. Section 404 of IPC. Answer 68, section 404 of IPC. Question 69. Which of the following can be called a document as per section 29 of IPC? A. Banker's check, B. Power of attorney, C. Map or plan, D. All of them. Answer 69, all of them. Question 70. Making preparation to commit dacoity is dealt under A. Section 398 of IPC, B. Section 399 of IPC, C. Section 400 of IPC, D. Section 401 of IPC. Answer 70, section 399 of IPC. Question 71. Unlawful compulsory labor is dealt under A. Section 371 of IPC, B. Section 372 of IPC, C. Section 373 of IPC, D. Section 374 of IPC. Answer 71, section 374 of IPC. Question 72. Selling or letting to hire a minor for purpose of prostitution, etc. is dealt under A. Section 371 of IPC, B. Section 372 of IPC, C. Section 373 of IPC, D. Section 374 of IPC. Answer 72, section 372 of IPC. Question 73. A jailer has the charge of Z, a prisoner. A intending to cause Z's death illegally omits to supply Z with food, in consequence of which Z much reduced in strength, but the starvation is not sufficient to cause his death. A is dismissed from his office. B succeeds him. B without collusion with A illegally omits to supply Z with food, knowing that he is likely thereby to cause Z's death, Z dies. Which of the following judgment applies to both A and B under section 37 of the IPC? A is only guilty of an attempt to commit murder while B is guilty of murder. B, A is guilty of murder while B is guilty of an attempt to murder. C, both A and B are guilty of murder. D, both A and B are guilty of attempt to murder. Answer 73. A is only guilty of an attempt to commit murder while B is guilty of murder. Question 74. Attempt of any offense if the person abetted does the act with a different intention from that of the abetter is dealt under. A. Section 109 of IPC. B. Section 110 of IPC. C. Section 111 of IPC. D. Section 112 of IPC. A. 74. Section 110 of IPC. Question 75. Abetment of any offense when the effect is caused by the act abetted different from that intended by the abetter is dealt under. A. Section 110 of IPC. B. Section 111 of IPC. C. Section 112 of IPC. D. Section 113 of IPC. Answer 75. Section 113 of IPC. Question 76. Abetment of any offense if abetter is present when offense is committed dealt under. A. Section 114 of IPC. B. Section 115 of IPC. C. Section 116 of IPC. D. Section 117 of IPC. Answer 76. Section 114 of IPC. Question 77. A public servant concealing a design to commit an offence which it is his duty to prevent if the offence be committed dealt under. A. Section 117 of IPC. B. Section 118 of IPC. C. Section 119 of IPC. D. Section 120 of IPC. Answer 77. Section 119 of IPC. Question 78. Which of the following punishment an offender is liable to under the provision of Section 53 IPC? A. Death and imprisonment for life. B. Imprisonment and fine. C. Forfeiture of property. D. All of them. All of them. Question 79. Abetment of any offence punishable with imprisonment if the offence be not committed in consequence of the abetment is dealt under. A. Section 114 of IPC. B. Section 115 of IPC. C. Section 116 of IPC. D. Section 117 of IPC. Answer 79. Section 116 of IPC. Question 80. Waging or attempting to wage war or abetting the waging of war against the government of India is dealt under. A. Section 121 of IPC. B. Section 122 of IPC. C. Section 123 of IPC. D. Section 124 of IPC. Answer 80. Section 121 of IPC. Question 81. Collecting arms etc. with the intention of waging war against the government of India dealt under. A. Section 120 of IPC. B. Section 121 of IPC. C. Section 122 of IPC. D. Section 123 of IPC. Answer 81. Section 122 of IPC. Question 82. Assaulting President, Governor, etc. with the intent to compel or restrain the exercise of any lawful power is dealt under. A. Section 123 of IPC. B. Section 124 of IPC. C. Section 125 of IPC. D. Section 126 of IPC. Answer 82. Section 124 of IPC. Question 83. Imputations, assertions prejudicial to national integration is dealt under. A. Section 153B of IPC. B. Section 154B of IPC. C. Section 155B of IPC. D. Section 156B of IPC. Answer 83. Section 153B of IPC. Question 84. Agent of owner or occupier for whose benefit a right is committed not using all lawful means to prevent it is dealt under. A. Section 154 of IPC. B. Section 155 of IPC. C. Section 156 of IPC. D. Section 157 of IPC. Answer 84. Section 156 of IPC. Question 85. Being hired to take part in an unlawful assembly or riot is dealt under. A. Section 156 of IPC. B. Section 157 of IPC. C. Section 158 of IPC. D. Section 159 of IPC. Answer 85. 158 of IPC. Question 86. Punishment for committing affray is dealt under. A. 159 of IPC. B. Section 160 of IPC. C. Section 161 of IPC. D. Section 162 of IPC. Answer 86. Section 160 of IPC. Question 87. Public servant framing an incorrect document with the intent to cause injury is dealt under. A. Section 166 of IPC. B section 167 of IPC, C section 168 of IPC, D section 169 of IPC. Answer 87, section 167 of IPC. Question 88. Public servant unlawfully buying or bidding for property is dealt under A section 169 of IPC, B section 170 of IPC, C section 171 of IPC, D section 172 of IPC. Answer 88, section 169 of IPC. Question 89. Wearing garb or carrying token used by public servant with fraudulent intent is dealt under A section 168 of IPC, B section 169 of IPC, C section 171 of IPC, D section 172 of IPC. Answer 89, section 171 of IPC. Question 90. Undue influence at an election is dealt under A section 168F of IPC, B section 169F of IPC, C section 170F of IPC, D section 171F of IPC. Answer 90, section 171F of IPC. Question 91. False statement in connection with the elections is dealt under A section 170G of IPC, B section 171G of IPC, C section 172G of IPC, D section 173G of IPC. Answer 91, section 171G of IPC. Question 92. Owner or occupier of land not giving information of right etc. is dealt under A section 152 of IPC, B section 153 of IPC, C section 154 of IPC, D section 155 of IPC. Answer 92, section 154 of IPC. Question 93. Insult intended to provoke breach of the peace is dealt under A section 500 of IPC, B section 501 of IPC, C section 502 of IPC, D section 504 of IPC. Answer 93, section 504 of IPC. Question 94. Which section of the Indian Penal Code codifies in field of criminal law the maxim de minimis non curat lex? A section 85 IPC, B section 88 IPC, C section 95 IPC, D section 96 IPC. Answer 94, section 95 IPC. Question 95. Under section 44 of IPC, the term injury means any harm A. illegally caused to a person in body and mind, B. illegally caused to a person in body and property, C. illegally caused to a person in body, mind, reputation or property, D. illegally caused to a person in body, mind and reputation. Answer 95. Illegally caused to a person in body, mind, reputation or property. Question 96. A person with fraudulent intention going through the ceremony of being married knowing that he is not thereby lawfully married is dealt under A. section 493 of IPC, B section 494 of IPC, C section 495 of IPC, D section 496 of IPC. Answer 96, section 496 of IPC. Question 97. Illegal payments in connection with elections is dealt under A section 169H of IPC, B section 170H of IPC, C section 171H of IPC, D section 172H of IPC. Answer 97, section 171H of IPC. Question 98. Absconding to avoid service of summons or other proceeding from a public servant is dealt under A section 172 of IPC, B section 173 of IPC, C section 174 of IPC, D section 175 of IPC. Answer 98, section 172 of IPC. Question 99. Not obeying a legal order to attend at a certain place in person or by agent or departing there from without authority is dealt under A section 174 of IPC, B section 175 of IPC, C section 176 of IPC, D section 177 of IPC. Answer 99, section 174 of IPC. Question 100. Intentionally omitting to give notice or information to a public servant by a person legally bound to give such notice or information is dealt under A section 174 of IPC, B section 175 of IPC, C section 176 of IPC, D section 177 of IPC. Answer 100, section 176 of IPC.